This is what happens when we prioritize diversity over competence, Trevor announces loudly, making sure others hear. Can't even mop a floor properly. The janitor, Derek Washington, 45, stands in the crowded company atrium, eyes fixed forward as CEO Trevor Blake berates him. The gleaming marble floor beneath them is already spotless. Derek's face remains impassive, but his eyes register each word. Around them, executives and employees look away uncomfortably, pretending to check phones or whisper to one another. People like you should be grateful for any job, Trevor continues, voice dripping with contempt. Clean it again, properly this time. As Derek silently complies, Trevor accidentally spills his coffee onto the freshly mopped surface. The dark liquid spreads across the marble as Trevor walks away, smirking. Close up on Derek's face, controlled dignity instead of defeat. His sleeve shifts slightly, revealing the edge of a military tattoo. What the smug CEO doesn't realize is that this simple janitor has faced far worse than corporate bullies. 3 months earlier, Derek Washington arrives at the headquarters of Pinnacle Tech precisely 15 minutes before his shift begins. His posture is military straight as he studies the gleaming glass and steel building, 40 stories of corporate ambition reaching toward the Seattle skyline. First day? Asks the security guard, barely glancing up. Yes, Derek responds, voice measured and confident. Maintenance department. The guard's eyes flicker briefly with surprise before handing over a temporary badge. Derek notices the micro-expression, but says nothing. In the basement maintenance office, Trevor Blake conducts a perfunctory orientation for 3 new hires. His gaze slides over Derek to focus on the 2 white maintenance workers. We maintain exceptional standards here, Trevor explains, addressing only the other 2. Our clients expect perfection. Derek observes everything with quiet precision. The building's layout, security protocols, the hierarchy evident in how people interact. Nothing escapes his notice. HR Director Amelia Chen stands in the doorway, watching. When Trevor turns away, he mutters, "Standards keep slipping. Maintenance used to be reliable." Amelia's eyes meet Derek's briefly before she looks away. Later, as Derek methodically organizes his locker, he places a small photograph face down on the shelf. The image, briefly visible, shows Derek in military uniform surrounded by other soldiers in desert terrain. "You're new," says a friendly voice. An IT technician named Raj introduces himself. "Need help figuring anything out?" "I appreciate it," Derek responds with a genuine smile. "I'm between careers at the moment." "Aren't we all?" Raj laughs. "Let me know if you need anything. Some people here can be—" He trails off, glancing toward the executive elevator. Through the glass walls of his top-floor office, Trevor watches Derek work. The janitor moves with unexpected efficiency, solving a recurring problem with the main floor's trash system that previous maintenance staff complained about for months. Trevor's jaw tightens. Trevor's frown deepens as he watches Derek work. This janitor's competence somehow irritates him even more than incompetence would have. 2 weeks pass. Derek revamps the cleaning schedule for the West Wing, cutting completion time by 30% while improving quality. The other maintenance staff have begun seeking his advice. "How'd you figure out that ventilation problem?" asks Miguel, a maintenance veteran. "Just observe the airflow patterns," Derek explains. "Military teaches you to notice details." Before Miguel can respond, a commotion erupts near the elevators. An elderly employee has slipped on a wet patch. Derek rushes over, helping her to a seat with practiced care. "Are you hurt, ma'am? Any sharp pain when I touch here?" His medical assessment is professional, thorough. "What exactly do you think you're doing, Washington?" Trevor Blake stands over them, arms crossed. The elderly woman shrinks back at his tone. "Sir, Mrs. Abernathy slipped. I'm assessing for potential injuries before she moves further." "That's not your job," Trevor snaps. "You're paid to clean floors, not play doctor. And speaking of cleaning, why isn't the executive bathroom spotless? There's water spots on all the fixtures." I'll address that immediately, sir, Derek responds with military precision. See that you do, and don't overstep your position again. Trevor's voice drops. People here need to understand how things work. The culture. Some fit in, some don't. As Trevor walks away, Amelia from HR approaches cautiously. Everything okay here? She asks, helping Mrs. Abernathy to her feet. Fine, ma'am, Derek responds evenly. I was just heading to clean the executive bathrooms. Are you sure? I could file a... I'm handling it, Derek says with quiet finality. Relief flashes across Amelia's face before she nods and walks away. Later, in his office, Trevor pulls up Derek's employment file, searching online for additional information. The results are surprisingly sparse. Basic military service record, honorable discharge, nothing noteworthy. Sir? His executive assistant, Vanessa, appears in the doorway. You've been researching the new janitor for almost an hour. Just ensuring quality standards, Trevor says dismissively. Can't be too careful these days. That night, in his modest apartment, Derek reviews technical manuals for Pinnacle's building systems, making detailed notes. A muted television in the background shows footage of a military ceremony. For a brief moment, the camera focuses on Derek in dress uniform, receiving a medal from a general, but the image isn't clear enough to identify him with certainty. As Derek studies the building schematics with military precision, a text message appears on his phone. Colonel, we need to discuss your undercover assignment. Morning light streams through the glass atrium of Pinnacle Tech. Today marks the company's biggest client presentation of the quarter. Derek arrives at 5:00 a.m., 3 hours before his shift officially begins. He meticulously inspects every inch of the presentation room, adjusting lighting levels and testing the temperature control system. Perfect, he murmurs, straightening the last chair. 9:00. Executives gather in the hallway as Trevor greets a group of distinguished clients. Among them stands Admiral Wilson, silver-haired and imposing despite his civilian business suit. The Admiral's eyes drift past Trevor, momentarily fixing on Derek as he discreetly exits the room. Something flickers in Wilson's expression, recognition quickly suppressed. Trevor leads the clients toward the conference room, then suddenly stops. Wait here, he commands, entering first. Seconds later, he emerges with a theatrical frown. Washington, get in here now! Derek approaches calmly. Inside the pristine conference room, a large coffee spill spreads across the table directly in front of the main presentation screen. How did you miss this? Trevor demands loudly. The clients are literally waiting outside. I'll clean it immediately, sir. Derek's voice betrays no emotion. You'd better. On your knees, if necessary. Trevor's voice carries deliberately as the clients file in. This is what happens when standards slip in hiring. Derek kneels without hesitation, efficiently cleaning the spill Trevor had obviously created moments before. The executives watch with discomfort. Admiral Wilson's face darkens. While we're waiting, Trevor announces with false joviality, Washington here will serve coffee since he clearly needs the practice. He turns to Derek. Stay for the presentation. Make yourself useful for once. Throughout the next hour, Trevor interrupts his own presentation to criticize Derek's service. A little slower, Washington. I don't think everyone saw your incompetence. Then to the clients. This is what happens when you don't get a proper education, folks. Each time, Derek responds with perfect military bearing. Yes, sir. Admiral Wilson's discomfort grows visibly. When Trevor opens the floor for questions, Wilson speaks first. Tell me about your veteran hiring practices, Mr. Blake. Our organization values military experience highly. Trevor stumbles, clearly thrown. Of course, we welcome veterans. We have several in our tech division. Wilson's eyes drift to Derek. And in other departments? After the clients leave, Trevor corners Derek in the empty conference room. You embarrassed me in there. What did you say to that, Admiral? Nothing, sir. Don't play innocent. I saw how he looked at you. I've never spoken to Admiral Wilson, sir. Trevor's eyes narrow at the name recognition. Your days here are numbered, Washington. Nobody wants a janitor who can't follow simple instructions. Understood, sir. Derek responds, the phrase further inflaming Trevor's inexplicable rage. In the maintenance locker room after his shift, Derek finally allows himself a moment alone. He inhales deeply, control momentarily slipping to reveal the emotional toll. His phone shows multiple missed calls from General Richards. He straightens his shoulders and heads toward the exit. As Derek leaves this building that evening, Admiral Wilson is waiting in the parking lot, saying only, "Colonel Washington, I think it's time we had a conversation about your unusual career move." Lights from passing cars periodically illuminate the booth at the back of Horizon Diner. Derek sits across from Admiral Wilson, both men nursing cups of coffee that have long gone cold. "I almost didn't recognize you," Wilson says, breaking the silence. 3 months ago, you were leading the most successful hostage extraction in SOCOM history. Now you're, what, mopping floors for that pompous ass? Derek's expression remains neutral. "It's part of my transition plan, sir." "Transition to what, exactly? Professional punching bag?" Wilson pushes his coffee aside. "I've known you 15 years, Washington. You've commanded elite units through impossible situations. You've saved diplomats, civilians, fellow soldiers. So explain to me why one of America's most decorated Special Forces commanders is scrubbing toilets for a man who wouldn't qualify to polish your boots in the service." "I'm completing my MBA at night," Derek explains. "I wanted to understand business operations from the ground up. No shortcuts, no special treatment." "And the abuse? Is that part of your education too?" A shadow crosses Derek's face. "I've endured worse." Wilson leans forward. "You should know, my company is considering a $30 million security infrastructure contract with Pinnacle. After what I witnessed today, I have serious concerns about their leadership culture." "Sir, I need your word you won't reveal my background," Derek says firmly. "I didn't take this position to leverage my military record. I want to succeed on merit alone. Even when they're treating you like..." "Especially then." The diner lights flicker, momentarily casting Derek's face in shadow. Desert night. Derek leads a 6-person team through rugged terrain. Gunfire erupts. "2 hostiles down. Ambassador secure," he reports calmly into his comm as chaos erupts around him. His decisive commands save the operation when everything goes wrong. Extraction point. Helicopter blades whir above as Derek carries an injured diplomat over his shoulder. "No one gets left behind," he shouts over the noise, returning to retrieve another civilian despite dangerous exposure. Back in the present, Derek's phone vibrates. "I need to take this," he says, stepping outside. "Colonel Washington," he answers, his voice instantly transforming. Gone is the deferential janitor. This is a commander speaking. "Sir, we have a situation in Kandahar," General Richards explains. "The extraction team is pinned down. We need your assessment of the alternate route through the Eastern Corridor." For 15 minutes, Derek provides precise tactical guidance, analyzing satellite imagery sent to his phone, identifying weaknesses in enemy positions, suggesting approach vectors. Lives hang in the balance of his expertise. Later that night, in his apartment, Derek opens a new document on his laptop. He begins methodically documenting every interaction with Trevor Blake: dates, times, witnesses, exact quotes. His approach is systematic, thorough in its precision. "If this is the battlefield," he murmurs to himself, "then I'll gather intelligence accordingly." Meanwhile, in his luxury penthouse, Trevor Blake scrolls through search results for Derek Washington Military, finding only basic service records. "What's your angle?" he mutters, draining his scotch. Everyone has an angle. As Derek meticulously documents Trevor's behavior, a notification appears on his laptop. He's been accepted to present his business innovation thesis to the company's board of directors, but under his academic credentials only, with no mention of his current position. Preparations for Pinnacle Tech's annual charity gala consume the office. The event, hosted at the Grand Meridian Hotel, represents the company's largest philanthropic effort of the year. Derek inspects the venue 2 days before the event, moving systematically through the space. In the main ballroom, he notices hairline cracks in a support beam beneath the stage. His structural assessment, honed through years of evaluating buildings for tactical operations, identifies a serious safety risk. "This won't hold under dynamic weight," he mutters, immediately contacting the hotel's maintenance chief. Together, they implement emergency reinforcements, working through the night. The next morning, Trevor tours the venue with the event planner. "The stage looks different," Trevor remarks. "Yes, sir," the hotel manager explains. "Your maintenance team identified a potentially catastrophic structural weakness. Your man Washington organized the repair overnight. Quite impressive." Trevor's smile tightens. "Yes, that's why we conduct thorough inspections. My team follows my exact protocols." Later, as staff prepare centerpieces in the Pinnacle offices, Trevor approaches Derek. "I need the executive washrooms deep cleaned before you leave today." Derek checks his watch. "Sir, my evening class begins at—" "Did I ask about your personal schedule, Washington? The board members are coming early tomorrow to prepare for the gala. I want those bathrooms spotless, every fixture, every tile." The task takes 3 hours. Derek misses his advanced corporate strategy lecture, the third absence this month due to Trevor's last-minute assignments. Later that night, he studies twice as hard, determined not to fall behind. The night of the gala arrives. Board members mingle with Seattle's elite philanthropists. Derek oversees final preparation details, directing other maintenance staff with natural leadership that draws notice from several executives. Trevor approaches with a full champagne glass, board member Catherine Powell alongside him. "Washington, the ice sculpture is dripping on the floor. Take care of it." As Derek moves to comply, Trevor pivots sharply, accidentally spilling champagne down Derek's uniform. "Look what you made me do," Trevor says loudly. "Go clean yourself up. You're embarrassing the company." Later, passing behind a service partition, Derek overhears Trevor speaking with 2 executives from partner companies. "Have to keep certain people in their place," Trevor laughs. "Otherwise, they forget who really belongs here and who's just filling diversity quotas." Derek discreetly activates his phone's recording app as the conversation continues, capturing Trevor's increasingly explicit racist remarks. So focused on documentation, he doesn't notice Trevor spotting him nearby. "Eavesdropping, Washington?" Trevor's voice cuts through the noise. "Interesting habit. Perhaps you need additional duties to keep you occupied. Report for weekend inventory, both Saturday and Sunday." Catherine Powell watches the interaction from across the room, making a note in her phone before turning back to her conversation. As Derek works the punitive weekend shift alone in the building, he discovers financial documents accidentally left open on Trevor's computer, revealing serious ethical violations that could sink the company. The financial documents on Trevor's screen detail systematic padding of government contracts, charging for non-existent services, double billing, and fabricated expenses. The numbers are substantial. Millions in fraudulent charges spanning 3 years. Derek studies the information carefully, taking no photographs or copies. His military ethics training is clear about proper channels. He memorizes key details, then ensures everything appears untouched. 3 days later, Pinnacle's compliance department receives an anonymous report through their ethics hotline. The tip is detailed, specific, and provides exact locations where evidence can be found. Trevor storms into the maintenance area the following morning, face flushed with rage. "Someone accessed my office over the weekend," he announces to the staff. His eyes fix on Derek. "Someone who shouldn't have been there." "I completed the inventory as instructed, sir," Derek responds evenly. "All areas were secured when I left. My office computer showed activity at 2:17 p.m. Sunday. I was in the East Wing storage area at that time, sir. The security logs will confirm it." Trevor's eyes narrow. "We'll see about that." The following week, the maintenance department schedule changes. Derek's hours are cut by 30%, significantly impacting his income. His MBA program tuition payment is due in 2 weeks. "Budget adjustments," Trevor explains with manufactured regret when questioned by HR. Performance-based reductions. Derek adapts silently. He picks up weekend work at a local veterans center, teaching transition skills to recently discharged service members. The additional hours mean less sleep, more pressure, but his coursework never suffers. Miguel approaches Derek in the break room. It's not just you. Anyone who talks to you is getting their hours cut too. I'm sorry to hear that, Derek responds. Not your fault, man. Some of us are talking about filing a group complaint with HR. That's your decision to make, Derek says carefully. But consider your position here. Document everything first. Later that day, Catherine Powell, the board member from the gala, appears in the maintenance area. Unexpected to find you here, Ms. Powell, Derek says, continuing his work. I'm conducting an operational efficiency review, she explains. You've implemented some changes to the cleaning protocols, I understand? Yes, ma'am. We've reduced chemical use by 20% while improving effectiveness. The new rotation also ensures high traffic areas receive proper attention without wasting resources on low-use spaces. Catherine studies him with sharp intelligence. Where did you learn efficiency management, Mr. Washington? Experience, ma'am. Every system can be improved with proper observation. Later that week, Derek delivers his final presentation for his ethical leadership course. His professor has invited industry leaders to observe the top students' work, unknowingly including 2 Pinnacle board members who don't recognize the janitor in this academic setting. The following day, Trevor spots a university envelope on Derek's workbench. Playing college student, Washington? He sneers, examining the syllabus inside. Advanced business strategy? A bit ambitious for someone who cleans toilets, isn't it? Let me save you some money. This, he gestures around the maintenance area, is all you'll ever be qualified for. No fancy degree will change that. That night in his apartment, Derek spreads printouts across his kitchen table. Pinnacle's organizational charts, board member biographies, company bylaws, and ethics policies. He studies them with the same concentration he once applied to enemy fortifications. Sir, Vanessa says, entering Trevor's office, the board is requesting attendance records for all executive sensitivity training sessions, especially yours. The internal investigation begins quietly. Emails request documentation. Meetings run long behind closed doors. Trevor paces his office, making frequent calls to his personal attorney. It's nothing, he assures Vanessa. Standard compliance review. But his behavior grows increasingly erratic. He focuses his frustration on the maintenance department, particularly Derek. Your people are creating discord, Trevor accuses during a tense confrontation in the basement supply room. Suddenly everyone has complaints about how things are run. The team is performing efficiently, sir, Derek responds. Metrics show improvement across all areas. When the other staff leave, Trevor's facade cracks. I know what you're doing, he hisses. People like you always want to cause trouble, think you deserve special treatment. The racial slur that follows hangs in the air between them. Derek's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in his eyes, the same calm focus he exhibited before high-risk operations. Will there be anything else, sir? Throughout the next week, Derek continues his exemplary work while gathering documentation. He speaks individually with staff members who've experienced similar treatment, collecting statements with timestamps and specific details. His approach is methodical, his record-keeping meticulous, skills honed through years of military intelligence gathering. Admiral Wilson returns to Pinnacle with a delegation of potential government clients. During a break in the presentations, he creates an opportunity to speak with Derek privately. The situation has deteriorated, Wilson observes. My contacts tell me Blake is under investigation for financial irregularities, but the discrimination issues aren't being addressed. These things take time, sir. I could end this tomorrow, Wilson says. One call about who you really are. That's not how this needs to happen, Derek interrupts firmly. The system needs to work correctly or nothing really changes. Your choice, Wilson concedes. But our contract decision won't wait forever. Trevor, growing increasingly paranoid, assigns Derek to clean the executive floor during a crucial board meeting. I want you to do it during the meeting, Trevor instructs. Not before, not after, during. The trap is obvious, setting Derek up to appear disruptive and unprofessional before the board. Instead, Derek works with such silent efficiency that most board members don't even notice his presence. Years of moving undetected through hostile territory have made him virtually invisible when necessary. Catherine Powell notices, however. She observes the contrast between Trevor's frequent complaints about maintenance issues and the immaculate condition of the facilities. Would you reveal your true identity immediately or wait for the perfect moment? Comment below. That evening, Derek puts final touches on his MBA thesis. Ethical Leadership and Operational Efficiency, a ground-level perspective. The case study, using anonymized data from Pinnacle, provides a comprehensive analysis of how discrimination and poor leadership directly impact company performance. As Trevor prepares to finally fire Derek for incompetence, an email arrives from the board requesting both Trevor and Derek attend the emergency meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning. The Pinnacle Tech boardroom gleams with morning light. Executive chairs surround a massive oak table, each position set with leather portfolios and crystal water glasses. Board members speak in hushed tones as they review documents. Trevor Blake enters confidently, designer suit perfectly tailored, hair immaculate. He nods to several board members before taking his usual position. I understand there are some compliance matters to discuss, he begins smoothly. Before we start, I should mention I've brought Washington to clean up afterward. He can wait outside until we're finished. Derek stands quietly near the door in his maintenance uniform. Catherine Powell looks up from her documents. Actually, Mr. Blake, we invited Mr. Washington specifically. The board chair, Elizabeth Ramos, gestures to an empty seat. Please join us, Mr. Washington. Trevor's smile falters. I'm sorry, there must be some confusion. Washington is a janitor. We're aware of his current position, Ramos continues. We've received his comprehensive analysis of operational inefficiencies and ethical concerns within Pinnacle. The board found it compelling enough to warrant immediate attention. Trevor's laugh sounds forced. You can't be serious. He's maintenance staff with no access to company data or management decisions, whatever he's claiming. The boardroom door opens. Admiral Wilson enters, followed by a stern-looking man in a crisp military suit with general stars. Apologies for the delay, Wilson says, taking a seat. General Richards and I had some matters to discuss before joining you. What is this? Trevor demands, composure cracking. Admiral Wilson introduces himself formally. Admiral James Wilson, Department of Defense Procurement Division. We've been evaluating Pinnacle for a $120 million security infrastructure contract. He nods toward Richards. General Richards insisted on joining when he heard who would be attending. General Richards looks directly at Derek. Colonel Washington, didn't expect to find you here. The room falls silent. Colonel? Trevor repeats, disbelief evident. Catherine Powell slides a folder across the table. Inside, military records detail Derek Washington's extraordinary career. Graduated top of his class at West Point, commanded special forces units in 12 countries, led rescue operations with unprecedented success rates, received multiple commendations for valor and strategic excellence. Colonel Washington has personally led operations that saved over 300 lives, including diplomatic personnel, civilians, and fellow soldiers, General Richards explains. His last mission extracted 37 hostages from an impossible situation with 0 casualties. Images appear on the boardroom screen. Derek in combat gear, leading teams through various terrains, receiving medals from military leadership. While working here, Richards continues, he's continued consulting on rescue protocols for ongoing operations. His tactical innovations have become standard procedure across special operations communities. Trevor stares at Derek, recognition and horror dawning simultaneously. I don't understand, Board Member Jenkins says. Why would someone with your background take a janitorial position? Derek speaks for the first time, his voice carrying the natural authority of command. I'm transitioning to civilian life. I wanted to understand business operations from the ground up while completing my MBA. I intentionally sought no special treatment or advantages from my military background. So the racist abuse you endured was just, what? A social experiment? Trevor attempts to regain control. No, Mr. Blake, it was wrongful discrimination that I documented extensively. Derek opens his laptop, displaying meticulous records of every incident. Dates, times, witnesses, exact quotes. I've also compiled similar experiences from other staff members who were targeted based on race, gender, or national origin. Trevor's face pales. I was testing you, pushing you to see. The recordings indicate otherwise, Derek interrupts, playing audio from the gala where Trevor made explicit racist statements. Catherine Powell clears her throat. The board should know that Colonel Washington has unknowingly been part of our executive assessment initiative. We've been quietly evaluating candidates for senior leadership from unconventional backgrounds. Mr. Washington's operational improvements saved the company $1.2 million in his first quarter, while working as a janitor. Admiral Wilson leans forward. I should also mention that our contract decisions are heavily weighted toward ethical leadership criteria. Based on my personal observations of Mr. Blake's behavior, Pinnacle would be disqualified under current guidelines. Trevor's composure completely dissolves. This is absurd. You can't possibly take the word of a highly decorated military commander with an almost completed MBA who's been systematically documenting your behavior? Board Chair Ramos interrupts. We absolutely can, especially when his observations align perfectly with our internal investigation findings. The board members exchange glances. A vote is called. The decision is unanimous. Trevor sits frozen, finally comprehending the magnitude of his mistake as Derek Washington stands revealed in his true light, commanding the room's respect without raising his voice or making a single threat. Mr. Blake, says the board chair, sliding a document across the table, I believe you'll find the terms of your departure on page 3. Colonel Washington, we'd like to discuss your future with the company in a very different capacity. Security escorts Trevor Blake from the Pinnacle Tech building. He maintains a facade of indignation, voice carrying across the lobby. This is a coordinated attack on my reputation, a conspiracy to remove me. His proclamations echo through the atrium as employees watch from behind cubicle walls and glass-doored offices. Derek Washington remains in the boardroom, now the center of attention as directors pepper him with questions about his assessments and recommendations. The issues extend beyond a single executive, Derek explains, his natural leadership evident in how he addresses the board. Mr. Blake's behavior was enabled by structural problems in reporting systems, accountability measures, and company culture. Amelia Chen from HR sits in stunned silence at the conference table, invited to join after the initial confrontation. Her face reflects dawning horror at her own complicity. I should have acted, she finally says. There were complaints, patterns I recognized but never addressed. The responsibility isn't solely yours, Derek responds. Effective systems distribute accountability appropriately. That's what failed here. By afternoon, industry publications have caught wind of the story. Headlines appear on financial news sites. Breaking, Pinnacle Tech CEO ousted amid discrimination allegations. Special Forces commander worked undercover as janitor, exposed CEO's misconduct. Government contracts in jeopardy as Pinnacle Tech faces leadership crisis. The company's stock drops 7% in 2 hours. Investors demand explanations. Customers and partners call account managers seeking reassurance. In the hastily established crisis room, Pinnacle's communications team crafts statements while monitoring social media reaction. Reporters flood the company switchboard with interview requests, specifically asking to speak with Derek Washington. Colonel Washington, every major business publication wants your story, explains Diane Mercer, head of corporate communications. This narrative has everything: discrimination, justice, a military hero in disguise. It could actually help us reshape the company's image if we control the rollout. I'm not interested in becoming the story, Derek responds. This isn't about me. It's about addressing structural failures that allowed discrimination to flourish. Across town, Trevor Blake meets with his personal PR team, developing a counter-narrative. I was a demanding executive with high standards, he insists. This undercover operation was clearly a setup from the beginning. They wanted me out because I wouldn't lower performance expectations. The company stands at a crossroads. Minimize public exposure by handling matters quietly, or demonstrate genuine commitment to change through transparency. Our instinct is to control damage, admits Board Chair Ramos during an emergency session, but that approach validates the culture of silence that allowed these problems to develop. Derek approaches the whiteboard. He diagrams a comprehensive communication strategy that acknowledges failures while demonstrating accountability, a framework reminiscent of military crisis management protocols. 2 weeks later, Pinnacle Tech announces a comprehensive initiative addressing workplace discrimination and structural reorganization. The press release includes specific acknowledgement of past failures and detailed plans for reform. Trevor's attorney files a defamation lawsuit against Pinnacle the following day, claiming character assassination and breach of contract. The suit is quietly withdrawn within 48 hours when evidence of financial improprieties surfaces during discovery. Meanwhile, Derek works directly with the maintenance staff to implement improved systems he developed during his time as janitor. He moves comfortably between the boardroom and the building's operational areas, creating an unprecedented bridge between executive decisions and ground-level implementation. 6 weeks after Trevor's departure, Derek presents his comprehensive transformation plan to the board. The presentation combines military strategic thinking with MBA frameworks and frontline operational insights, a unique perspective no traditional executive could offer. Traditional corporate hierarchies create information bottlenecks, Derek explains, highlighting a process flow diagram. When leadership is isolated from operational realities, both decision quality and implementation suffer. The company culture transformation plan looks excellent, Colonel Washington, says Catherine Powell. But there's still the question of who will lead its implementation as our new CEO. The Washington State Business Ethics Committee convenes in a wood-paneled hearing room. Polished tables face a raised platform where 5 commissioners sit reviewing documents. The gallery behind the tables fills with observers, industry representatives, reporters, former Pinnacle employees. Trevor Blake arrives flanked by 3 attorneys from Spencer & Dowd, the city's most expensive corporate law firm. His tailored suit and confident stride project assurance, but his eyes betray anxiety as he scans the room. He nods to several business associates, clearly expecting his connections to influence the proceedings. Derek Washington enters alone, carrying a single leather portfolio. He wears a simple charcoal suit, impeccably tailored but without ostentation. Several former maintenance staff members from Pinnacle nod to him from the gallery. This hearing will address allegations of discrimination, hostile workplace creation, and ethics violations against Trevor Blake, former CEO of Pinnacle Technologies, announces Chairwoman Rivera. Mr. Washington, as the primary complainant, you may present your evidence first. Derek approaches the testimony table with military precision. His presentation is methodical and dispassionate. He refers to his documentation rather than relying on emotional appeals, presenting evidence in chronological order with supporting materials for each incident. On March 14th, Mr. Blake stated to executives Jordan Phillips and Richard Tanner, and I quote, "Some people need to remember their place in the organization while looking directly at minority employees during a staff meeting." This followed his earlier comment on March 10th regarding lowering standards to meet diversity quotas. Trevor's lead attorney objects repeatedly, challenging Derek's access to certain conversations or his interpretation of events. Each time, Derek produces corroborating evidence, witness statements, recordings, or documentation that validates his claims. The contrast in their approaches becomes increasingly apparent. Where Trevor interrupts, Derek remains composed. Where Trevor's attorneys attempt procedural maneuvers, Derek navigates the process with quiet competence. The committee calls Admiral James Wilson, announces Chairwoman Rivera. Trevor shifts uncomfortably as the Admiral takes the stand. I witnessed Mr. Blake's discriminatory behavior firsthand during a client presentation, Wilson testifies. He deliberately humiliated Mr. Washington, making explicitly racist remarks about his intelligence and background. When I inquired about veteran hiring practices, Mr. Blake was clearly unprepared and dismissive. As the hearing progresses, former employees from Trevor's previous companies come forward with similar accounts, establishing a pattern spanning years rather than isolated incidents. Mr. Blake consistently targeted minority employees for criticism, denied advancement opportunities, and created hostile conditions to force resignations, testifies Marion Collins, a former VP of operations at Blake's previous company. Trevor's defense strategy unravels as the evidence mounts. His attorneys attempt to reframe the narrative, suggesting Derek had ulterior motives. Colonel Washington deliberately infiltrated Pinnacle to sabotage Mr. Blake's leadership, argues defense attorney Spencer. This was a calculated military-style operation to remove Mr. Blake from his position. Is it your contention, Commissioner Johnson asks, that Colonel Washington somehow arranged for Mr. Blake to make racist statements and engage in discriminatory practices? The committee reviews Derek's detailed documentation, with Chairwoman Rivera specifically commending its thoroughness and professionalism. In 30 years on this committee, I've rarely seen such comprehensive and meticulously verified evidence, she notes. When Trevor finally takes the stand, his carefully constructed facade crumbles under questioning. Confronted with the recorded evidence of his statements at the charity gala, his composure fractures completely. "You don't understand the pressures of running a company," he shouts. "These diversity hires were dragging down performance. Washington had no right to spy on me. He's just another—" The racial slur that follows silences the entire room. Trevor's attorneys wince visibly. The court reporter looks up in shock. Trevor himself seems to realize immediately what he's done, but it's too late. The committee's ruling comes 3 days later. Trevor is barred from officer positions in any public company for 5 years, faces significant financial penalties, and must complete 200 hours of community service with veteran transition programs. As the hearing concludes, cameras capture Trevor clearing out his luxury home office, boxing up awards and credentials as news reports detail Pinnacle's revival under new leadership initiatives. 6 months later, as Trevor struggles to rebuild his shattered reputation, he receives an unexpected invitation to speak at a corporate ethics symposium, hosted by Derek Washington. 1 year after the Ethics Committee hearing. The Seattle skyline gleams through the windows of Pinnacle Tech's headquarters, now featuring a renovated lobby with an installation celebrating the company's renewed values. Innovation through inclusion, etched in glass above profiles of employees from all levels of the organization. Inside, the transformation is more than cosmetic. The executive floor, once an isolated sanctuary, now features open collaboration spaces where leaders regularly engage with staff from all departments. The maintenance area has been renovated with the same quality materials used throughout the building, erasing the physical hierarchy that once separated important and unimportant spaces. Derek Washington, now officially Pinnacle's Chief Operations Officer, leads a diverse leadership team through their quarterly strategy review. The boardroom no longer features a dominant head chair. Instead, a round table symbolizes the collaborative approach that has become Pinnacle's hallmark. Our performance metrics have exceeded projections for the 3rd consecutive quarter, announces Imani Jackson, the new CFO. Employee retention has improved by 43%, and productivity measurements show sustained improvement across all divisions. The company's transformation has garnered industry attention. The Wall Street Journal features Pinnacle in a cover story. The Washington Method: How Military Leadership Principles Revolutionized Corporate Culture. Harvard Business Review publishes a case study on the company's turnaround, now required reading in MBA programs nationwide. What makes the Pinnacle model unique, the case study explains, is the integration of top-down strategic vision with ground-level operational understanding. By flattening unnecessary hierarchies and creating genuine feedback channels, Washington's approach ensures leaders remain connected to operational realities. In Pinnacle's Innovation Lab, Raj, the IT worker who first befriended Derek during his janitorial days, now serves as Director of Operations Technology. His team develops systems that enhance communication between departments previously isolated from one another. Colonel Washington taught us that operational insights can come from anywhere in the organization, Raj explains to visiting executives from competing firms. Our success comes from valuing every perspective, regardless of title or position. The maintenance department has been completely reimagined. No longer relegated to night shifts and basement offices, the newly named Facilities Operations Team participates in building design decisions and sustainability initiatives. 4 former maintenance workers now attend the company's management training program, their tuition fully covered. Amelia Chen, once the hesitant HR director who failed to address discrimination, now leads Pinnacle's corporate ethics division. The transformation in her approach is evident as she conducts workshops for industry peers. Silence is complicity, she tells attendees from dozens of tech companies. We've developed protocols that make reporting concerns a standard professional responsibility rather than a personal risk. Beyond Pinnacle's walls, the impact continues to spread. 3 major tech companies have adopted similar leadership approaches after witnessing Pinnacle's success. The state legislature has passed enhanced workplace discrimination protections based partly on testimony from former Pinnacle employees. At an industry conference focused on workplace culture, Derek delivers a keynote address on ethical leadership. Executives from across the country listen attentively as he outlines principles drawn from both military service and his unique perspective as someone who experienced the company from its lowest position. As Derek prepares to deliver the keynote address at the industry conference, a familiar face appears in the back of the room. Trevor Blake, there to witness the legacy of the incompetent janitor he once ridiculed. Morning light streams through the windows of Derek Washington's office at Pinnacle Tech. Unlike his predecessor's opulent space, Derek's office is functional and accessible. The glass walls remain transparent. No privacy film separates him from the rest of the organization. His door stays open unless confidential meetings require otherwise. Every Tuesday morning, Derek visits the maintenance department, arriving before most executives. Today, he helps Miguel troubleshoot an issue with the new energy management system. The sensors in the West Wing are showing discrepancies, Miguel explains, spreading the schematics across a workbench. Let's take a look, Derek responds, rolling up his sleeves. Together, they inspect the installation, identifying the calibration issue within minutes. Most executives wouldn't know which end of a screwdriver to hold, Miguel laughs. Most executives haven't had the advantage of seeing the organization from the ground up, Derek replies. Later that afternoon, Derek meets with James Ellison, a young black employee from another tech company seeking advice. James describes experiencing discrimination similar to what Derek faced. My manager keeps passing me over for client presentations, James explains, then criticizes me for not being visible enough. I'm thinking about filing a formal complaint. Derek listens carefully before responding. Documentation is your strongest asset. Record everything. Dates, times, witnesses, exact quotes. Create a pattern that can't be dismissed as misunderstanding. Couldn't you just, call my CEO? Your story is famous now. I could, Derek acknowledges, but that wouldn't create systemic change. The system needs to work correctly, not just produce the right outcome in isolated cases. As James leaves with renewed determination, Derek's assistant announces an unexpected visitor, Trevor Blake. Trevor enters cautiously, significantly changed from the confident executive he once was. His clothing is still expensive but less ostentatious. The arrogant bearing has diminished. Thank you for seeing me, Trevor begins awkwardly. I'm here because of the community service requirement. The ethics committee suggested I should understand the impact of my actions directly. Derek gestures to a chair. What have you learned so far? Trevor begins with justifications. market pressures, performance expectations, the stress of leadership. But as the conversation continues, something genuine emerges. I never saw people like certain employees as capable of real leadership, Trevor admits. I had these categories in my mind, fixed ideas about who belongs where. And now? I'm working on it, Trevor responds, the first honest thing he said. It's not easy to unlearn a lifetime of assumptions. It's not full redemption, just the first halting step toward genuine understanding. Derek recognizes it for what it is without overstating its significance. Leadership isn't about position or power, Derek explains. It's about bringing out the best in others and building systems that allow everyone to contribute their full potential. The military taught me that true authority comes from serving those you lead. As Trevor leaves, Derek turns his attention to the final proposal for the Pinnacle Educational Initiative, a scholarship program for maintenance staff pursuing further education. The program bears the name of Derek's former military unit rather than his own, focusing on the team rather than the individual. On his desk sit two photographs, his Special Forces unit in desert terrain, and beside it, a new photo of the Pinnacle leadership team, diverse in every dimension, unified in purpose. Admiral Wilson visits that evening as Derek reviews the quarterly results. You've built something remarkable here, Wilson observes, studying the transformed office space. Different from what you did in the service, but equally impressive. Not so different, Derek responds thoughtfully. In both cases, the mission was to help people reach their potential despite challenging circumstances, just a different kind of rescue operation. Wilson nods in understanding. You've created another elite unit that saves people, just in a different way. True leadership isn't about the position you hold, but recognizing the potential in every position others hold. If you enjoyed this story of hidden strength and workplace justice, don't miss out on more powerful narratives that expose truth and celebrate resilience. Subscribe to Beat Stories now by hitting the red button below and turn on notifications so you never miss our weekly releases of real-life inspired drama. Each story delivers that satisfying moment when underestimated individuals reveal their true power and transform broken systems. Like and share this video to help others discover these stories of justice and transformation. Beat Stories, where everyday heroes get the last word.
What happened today isn't just a story, it's a reminder. Silence protects systems, but courage rewrites them. At Beat Stories, we don't just watch change, we document it. Subscribe for more real stories that challenge power and amplify truth.